So we're at the Blockchain Futurist conference. You know this by now. Been doing interviews all day. Beautiful venue, amazing networking event. I think the energy of just, not being able to do this for years plays certainly a part in this. Why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you next to me here?
I was going to call you Ted Baker. Question. You can call me Ted Baker.
Okay, perfect. I'm here with Ted Baker.
And the other alias is Gordon Bufton. We run a global enterprise called Genius Creators.
Okay, Genius Creators. So tell me more about that. What does it do?
Okay, so
what does it have to do with you being here?
So everyone is a genius at something.
Okay.
And we're all creating life, or creating companies, or we're all creating something.
Yeah.
And so it's our job to remind people of their genius and help them create. So we run a lot of masterminds and communities all around the world where we bring the smartest, brightest people together, sometimes for a dinner experience, sometimes for a weekend, sometimes for a week at a really nice house. We had 2 houses in Miami this winter where we just had creators. We had a private chef, and we would host parties talking about NFTs, blockchain, cryptocurrencies.
Almost sounds like one of those artist camps, like musicians get together in a venue, sometimes remote, and just basically create. Is that kind of the idea?
We have 12 artists in our agency, and so we help these artists, blow up. We do custom art for a lot of our clients, our very wealthy clients. We partner them with an artist, and they go to their house, they experience it, and we create a custom, very nice piece of art that they use as their Zoom background.
Interesting.
So, and we use that sometimes as a gifting strategy for our clients that have very high-end clients. So they will give them this piece of art, and then when they're on their Zoom, you're on a Zoom with somebody, you're like, oh my God, David, your background painting is so amazing. And you're like, oh yes, my friend Gordon gave it to me out of the blue.
Sort of shameless publicity, basically, right?
But what we do is my friend John Rulin, he's always like, how do you give an exclusive gift that is the best in the world? So that one of their strategies is they give a lot of knives. So the wife is using this really nice Cutco knife every day with their family on it.
Occasionally
and
chopping a finger off.
Oh no, they do. So we used to do that in one of our masterminds, and on a call, 5 of the people, one guy cut straight through the avocado nut into his hand. Oh my God, it was such a mess.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, but the wife goes, hey, what's Gordon doing?
Okay.
Right, because they're using this knife all the time, and they're like, hey, how's Gordon doing? And he's like, and then he just hits me up. Oh, how are you doing? So we use gifting and art as a really way to create connection with our clients and create these once in a lifetime experiences.
Very interesting. And of course, sales is very emotional, and so I could see how art would be a good way to at least start a conversation and kind of make an impression.
Yep.
You mentioned the term agency. Is that what you guys are? Some kind of a marketing agency, 2.0, 3.0, whatever?
7.0.
Okay.
So we, Genius Creators is a global conglomerate. So we have, we run masterminds, we have an agency, we have an impact fund, we do a lot of stuff for mental well-being in kids and empowering kids, usually with art. And so we have a project now that we're working with artists in Ukraine, kids in Ukraine, and we're sending them art supplies, we're having them create art, and then we're selling that. We're able to use that to create more art for these kids.
And where are you based?
I've traveled the world the last 3 years, and we are in the process of creating a modern day artist Hogwarts in Portugal.
Okay.
So that's going to be my home
Where do you
base.
live?
I've traveled the world the last 3 years out of Airbnbs.
You don't have a basis?
No.
Literally.
So literally I've traveled.
You're digital nomad.
I have a backpack. I like to say I'm a global citizen.
Okay.
And I'm just about to have a bunch of houses in Portugal. So in September, we'll put roots down in Portugal.
Very cool. So why did you want to come to this conference here in Canada?
Yeah, so one of my good friends, Sook, has his Earth Wallet, so he's sponsoring.
Yeah, saw it.
And so we met in Ibiza a couple weeks ago. He's like, dude, you got to come to this conference. And I'm like, all right, great. I have family here, so meeting some clients and spending time with family.
Are you Canadian?
Yeah.
You're a Canadian. Okay.
Yes, I was born in Montreal.
That's where I'm based. That's where the company is based.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Very good. That's probably all you
That's
can
all
say,
I got.
Right? Yeah, awesome. What do you think of this conference? I overheard you in your previous interview, you're a busy man, saying...
committed, not busy.
Okay.
Committed means I have control over my time and schedule. Busy means other people do.
I prefer committed than busy. You're very right. That you didn't necessarily love the conference, but you love the networking. What do you mean by that?
So part of the thing, so I was at the North American Bitcoin Conference, and part of coming to this blockchain future, I believe they're the smartest people in the world.
Okay.
And so I don't come to learn from the speakers because most of the speakers here are super boring and lame.
Oh, really?
If I want to learn something, I'm going to pay an expert to teach me and like cut through all the filter, right? Like and the reason why I've been able to be so successful is I go to the best in the world and I become friends with them, and I'm able to so say in finance and VC and crypto, you have to get a job out of a good university with an MBA, and then you do some analytics and you work way up. I say screw that. I just go find the top hedge fund guys and I become friends with them. Right? Like one of my partners is one of the top 5 guys in the world for impact funds.
Yeah.
We're doing a separate impact fund. Why? Because I met him at a conference. I befriended him. I went to Atlanta twice. I met with him. I pitched him on an idea. He's like, oh my God, that is insane. Let's do it.
I totally agree with you. To be honest, this is also why we do interviews. I mean, because it's a great way to connect with someone, to learn, and one-on-one. And, if there is a good connection, then, things will naturally kind of coalesce, right? So what is your connection with blockchain, though? That wasn't clear yet.
So we were doing an NFT project in Q1 that did not go according to plan. It was a very expensive tuition. Always spend on your tuition, even long out of university or college or high school. So I have been involved in the Phoenix startup community for about a decade because I am a speaker and I know nothing about technology. I can turn on my iPhone and that is pretty much it. But I love hanging out with geniuses and really smart people.
Yeah. Wow. And as you said, so you feel like the smartest people in the world are in the blockchain space?
Yeah.
Could you expand on that? Like, how do you gauge that? What about rocket scientists? What about,
Yeah, but rocket science, they're not free thinkers. And the piece that I love about blockchain and cryptocurrencies is they're free thinkers and they're able to take code and think through differently.
You could
and
invent anything, right? Whereas a rocket scientist is limited by the boundaries of science, I guess. Is that kind of what you mean?
So one of the terms that we use within our company is PFM.
Okay.
Do you know what PFM is? So my dad was an investment banker at the Royal Bank, on one of these high buildings here in Toronto, and I spent 2 years in Whitby as a little tyke. And so they would be investor meetings, and he's like, this business doesn't make sense. You're making how many millions and billions of dollars off of nothing? So he's like, this is PFM. So PFM means pure fucking magic.
I was expecting something
and
like
my buddy, he freaking created cryptocurrency, and they were literally printing $500,000 of cash a day.
Yeah.
That's pure fucking magic. You can't, in Web3, it's just amazing the magic you can create.
Is all this value valuable?
It depends.
I guess some of it is subjective. If it's art, it's subjective.
Dude, why do I deal art?
Because you love art,
because
maybe?
I could buy a piece for
$10
and sell it for $1 million because I tell a compelling story.
Yeah.
Right? Why are we working with artists in Ukraine?
Yeah.
Because our clients want to help Ukraine.
Right.
They don't know how.
Yeah.
So we're giving them a platform hey, you buy this piece of art, you put it on your wall, so people are going to come say, oh my God, you're such a good human. You did this Ukraine piece.
Well, value is subjective, isn't it?
Exactly.
Anyway, it's just what you feel happy with and comfortable with. And what are you going to take away from this conference when you leave? Whenever
Hanging
you leave?
out with you.
Of course. Other than that.
I'm going to take the relationships.
Yeah.
And
have you made some good connections already?
So you want a quick story on networking and how I do events?
Please.
Okay, so the most successful people in the world, when they go to an event, they only meet a handful of people. But those handful of people are going to change
their life.
Are going to change the world.
Yeah.
Right? So I met a handful of people today that go, holy shit, Gordon is one of the most ridiculous people I've ever met in my life.
You are pretty ridiculous in a positive way. You just it's like you just cut straight to the, you just say it as it is.
They go right through the filter.
Yeah.
And so those people are all going to hit me up, and some of them won't, and cool.
Right.
But I always give people an invitation into my world.
Yeah.
And they can choose whether they come play in my sandbox in Portugal or not.
So it sounds to me like you are at the juncture between entrepreneurship and art and just straight hustling, basically. If I'm qualifying you more or less,
it's all just
and a global thinker. Global in the sense the world, but also global in the sense that for you everything seems to be connected and you try to find meaning.
So I wrote a book a couple of years ago on my 30th birthday. I released it called The Connection Effect.
Okay.
So an entrepreneur's playbook to unlocking the present moment. We're in the process of changing the subtitle and some of the stuff around it. But the main concept is how do we connect? And we believe love was the word for the last 2,000 years, and the word for the next 2,000 years is connection. Right? Like right now we're connected.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's like,
some people would say is a form of love. It's just appreciation, respect.
I think it's another
interest.
level.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And so what drives all human behavior
Oxytocin.
is sex.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
But really why people want sex is that moment they feel connected with their partner.
Yeah. It's the ultimate connection.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's connection. That's being in the present moment, that like the world stops and you're just like in that moment, which is connection.
So if some of our followers in Canada or elsewhere, in blockchain or elsewhere, want to connect with you, who do you want people to? Okay, there was that, obviously.
So go on
But
Instagram.
why should they connect you?
Gordon
Who do
Bufton.
you want to contact you, and for what?
Dude, we have all kinds of different things. A lot of our content is just kind of like motivational, right? Like, there's so many people that I've watched content over the years that have motivated and inspired me.
Okay.
And so we work with a lot of kids. We're looking for a lot of salespeople, for our ventures. So we're always looking for salespeople. But, we host experiences all around the world. So we have coming up, we're here in Toronto, we're doing Montreal on the 11th, then we go to LA, then we go to Denver, then we go to DC.
Montreal on the 11th this week? That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to come?
Well, I'm going to be here till Friday, so I'd love to, but I'll be back on the 12th.
Okay. Well, that's too bad.
That's too bad, yeah. Yeah, we're maybe
it's not too bad, but anyways.
it's meant to be.
You can come to LA.
It's meant to be.
Then we got
I'd love to.
Denver, DC, Atlanta, Miami, Austin, and then we go back to Europe.
You come back to Montreal regularly? Is that a place that you like to go to, or?
I haven't been in Canada since 2016.
Oh wow. Okay.
But we'll set up shop. We're setting up shop in New York, Toronto. We'll probably do something in Montreal.
Virtually, of course.
No.
Oh really?
So our model is we set up a house and we host experiences and use that as a gallery, and we have like really brilliant people hang out.
Sounds super exciting. We could talk all afternoon or all evening, but Gordon?
Yeah, Gordon.
You prefer? Gordon? Nice
It was a
chatting
pleasure.
with you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's a
much.
pleasure as
And
well.
like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Because you
And likewise.
Well, and one of the pieces that we always say is you're always like one relationship, one idea, one connection, one mastermind, one coach,
Away
one book from creating whatever it is you desire in your life.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like the 6 degrees of separation. Yeah, and
But it's
we'll
only
tag
1
you,
degree with
etc.
us.
But thank you very much.